markets will try to figure out who is telling the truth. And that process creates uncertainty. And if there's anything we've really learned since the financial crisis, markets and the economy, more importantly, do not like uncertainty, particularly economic policy uncertainty. How will the U.S. respond? Given that we already have uncertainty about, we have a Fed tightening cycle, how that's going to play out. Now we have massive uncertainty in foreign policy. Like, where is there certainty right now?
But Jim, let me ask you this. You know, there's been a lot of folks who've tried to downplay the global economic implications of Russia. There was a comment, Jason Furman, I believe, in the New York Times over the weekend, where he called Russia the equivalent of a country masquerading as a gas station. Halima Croft was just on our broadcast. She said, actually, it's a commodity superstore with much larger implications. If you're in the U.S. and you're Jay Powell, how are you supposed to think about all this?
I think thinking about this situation as Russia with an economy, the size of, Australia, what's the big deal? How does this affect the price earnings multiple of Bristol Myers or something? Look, during the Cold War, we had suppressed price earnings ratios. All right. They rarely got above 18. Cold War over, early 1990s, we haven't had a trailing PE below 18. Something changed. Whether you want to, you can point to a lot of things, but people's behavior, their expectations, what they thought about the probability of global conflict, that all declined. I think we are now taking a step back into that Cold War world of far greater geopolitical uncertainty. There's a market ramification and an economic ramification.
And that ramification, though, is what? And the reason I'm asking is I think that there's a lot of expectation that we are having a serious inflation problem here in the United States, that Jay Powell is going to have to deal with it, and how you think that changes, if it does at all, the dynamic, given these new tensions. I don't know if they're new, but renewed tensions, heightened tensions between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, listen, ideally, you would like to look at foreign, especially if you're President Biden, you would like to look at foreign policy as a distraction, from troubles at home. Well, for one, that foreign policy could worsen, to get to the Powell issue, could worsen the trouble at home, meaning inflation. Also, it's a huge political distraction. It consumes political capital here. Your agenda's already on the ropes. Build Back Better. The odds of that are going down, it seems like, daily. So there's really no respite, particularly in this case, when that foreign policy crisis has an inflation implication. It's like a perfect storm of these various factors. And it's obviously it's bad for the economy, bad for the Biden administration.
So bad for the administration. Therefore, you think that changes the political dynamic in the midterms?
Well, obviously, it already wasn't looking very good. And, people they don't remember, if you look at polls, like somehow they've forgotten about that $1.9 trillion stimulus. They seem to have forgotten about the infrastructure. What's in behavioral finance they call recency bias? What is the recency bias of the average voter going to be in November? Is it going to be about stimulus, infrastructure, or is it going to be about no Build Back Better? Problems in foreign policy, inflation making the economy look unstable, so all those great GDP numbers look kind of phony. This is a very, very tough midterm the Democrats are looking at. Historically tough.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.